Throughout the year, Misawa Air Base hosted a wide variety of guests, everything from DoD entertainers to top-notch military brass. In our first report, Staff Sergeant Bucky Rudolph shows the fun visitors bring when they're guests at Misawa. As for high-ranking visitors, they have fun too, but as Staff Sergeant Kevin Olson reports, they do in their own special way.
Twiddle-dee, twiddle-dum, twiddle-die. That's the name of the Department of Defense overseas show that stopped at Misawa Thursday night. It was an interactive comedy mystery in which the ultimate crime, murder, was committed right before your eyes. Well, actually, it was committed backstage, and the job of Detective Eddie May was to find the murderer. When the show started, the characters mingled with the crowd for about half an hour, telling them their life stories as it pertained to the murder mystery. To say the least, what a group of interesting characters.
Shut up! Shut up, I tell you, I'm not smoking here.
Randy, don't you like that?
I'm not liking it, baby.
Voices are not talking, I told him. Shh! He's nervous because he's trying to quit smoking. He's having a hard time. What was your name? Hi, Charlie. Nice to meet you, Rosie Ripple. Okay, I know you can sing. Yeah, except that Randy was cheating on me, and that's what the
You better believe he is. Oh, yes.
One of the characters obviously didn't get along with anyone, and whatever he did, it cost him his life. The audience was invited to go through evidence that was placed on a table near the stage. Each character was interrogated by Detective Eddie May, and all the evidence was looked over. We won't tell you who did it because the victim's occupation was very near and dear to the hearts of many FENers. He was a journalist. Base officials and distinguished visitors welcomed the Commander-in-Chief of Pacific Air Force, General John Warber, to Misawa Air Base. Arriving from a brief stopover in Korea, the general arrived for a 3-day visit to Misawa to meet with several base agencies and talk with the troops. One highlight of his trip was a commander's call held in Hangar 949. Here the general discussed a wide range of topics, ranging from Korea to what the future holds for the Air Force, and a message about how he feels about Misawa.
So I've watched this Misawa team grow from the times I was here all the way to where you are right now, and I tell you what, I could be prouder of a bunch of men and women than I am of you and what you do up here. I recognize your sacrifices, but I also recognize your dedication.
But this visit wasn't your typical entourage tour of briefings, tours, and discussions about the base and other topics. With this visit came a definite surprise for one of Misawa's finest, courtesy of General Warber, that is. But the general found one thing wrong with this individual.
But John, unfortunately, as you look at him right here, he looks like an outstanding NCO, doesn't he? But he's out of uniform. You're out of uniform. So, why don't you come up here?
Step promoted to the ranks of Master Sergeant was a surprised John Perry from the Communications Squadron. He's the NCOIC of Systems Network Support. Some of the Navy organizations on the installation gathered on the flight line for quarters early Tuesday morning, which is similar to the Air Force's commander's call. During the formation, Rear Admiral Larry Newsom, the new commander of Patrol Wing U.S. Pacific Fleet, presented awards and addressed the sailors. The admirals visiting Misawa to learn about Navy operations here firsthand.
Well, the more information one has, the better capable you are of making the correct decisions on whether it's personnel decisions, aircraft decisions, or whatever you need in mission decisions and so forth. So seeing how the people fly, what they do, how they're getting along and so forth, the more informed I am, the better capable I am of making the correct decision.
Admiral Newsom had this message for those Navy folks that couldn't attend.
Well, what they do out here is important. What they do out here for the country is important. We could not get along without them, and they should all be very, very proud of what they're doing, and I'm proud of them.
The Admiral had nothing but praise for the unit and sailors assigned to Misawa. He wishes the best to all the installation sailors.
This year, the biggest act to hit the stage was a comedian known as Sinbad, courtesy of Services Squadron. The house was filled to capacity, and Senior Airman Chris Galinek was there. One other class act was the man responsible for creating the F-16. In fact, Specialist Arlene Montgomery had a chance to have an up-close interview with the man known as the father of the F-16.
How many people just got here like in the last 6 months? Just got here. Just got in here, huh? So are you having fun so far? Well, it don't get no better.
Sinbad brought down the house during his free concert. The comedian performed more than an hour to a capacity crowd. But this isn't the first time Sinbad has entertained military members overseas. Sinbad discussed his show in Bosnia.
Yeah, it's interesting to watch cats with M16 standing in the audience while you're trying to make them laugh and watch people sink in the mud while I'm standing on a little piece of plywood. We were doing it outside. It wasn't like in theaters. We were just outside in the rain in the mud doing the shows.
It's kind of like a Bob Hope show then.
Yeah, it's beyond Bob Hope, man. This is like walk up a piece of plywood, drop you off in a helicopter, go do 15 minutes and go jump in a helicopter, fly into another place. Here's some stuff, go pop, pop, drop down.
See, even in basic training, Marine basic training, y'all go for like a year, right? 4 or 5 years, 2 years. What do we do? 4 weeks, 6 weeks? Weekend, 2 or 3 weekends? And when y'all mess up, y'all get jacked up, don't you? Y'all got those, you see, y'all have those instructors been in Vietnam. Don't want to ever be a civilian again. Just look at you. Come here! Bro, you looking at me? I was like, oh, I can't. No, I can't. Air Force. Now make me take a 341. See, I can deal with that.
Sinbad took the chance to discuss his own military career during his show. He was in the Air Force for about 3.5 years as a boom operator on tanker aircraft.
With more than 6 million flight hours, flown by 18 different air forces, the Fighting Falcon has an impressive record, proving its worth time and again. In the beginning, its creator, Harry Hilliker, didn't believe it was possible.
When we started the airplane, nobody wanted this stinky little airplane. They said wouldn't carry anything, wouldn't go anyplace. I have to say that I did have some reservations whether all the effort was worth it, whether we'd ever go anyplace. So,
But the F-16 did go places. It became the workhorse of Desert Storm, an enforcer of no-fly zones supported by the United Nations, and was successfully used over Bosnia. Through the years, it's been updated and changed several times. The most current edition is the Block 50, with a bigger engine and more power.
One of the things we wanted to emphasize for combat was acceleration time. As the airplane gets heavier, it doesn't accelerate quite as good. And so with the big engine in it, they tell me this gives you a real kick in the pants.
According to Hilliker, creating a machine on paper is satisfying, but seeing it in action is an emotional experience.
Very gratifying to go out and see how people are operating the things that I spent considerable time trying to define and put together. And particularly, here is where my report card is. I think I'd get A's.
Hilliker's idea was to integrate the newest and best technology into a small, adaptable aircraft that would be inexpensive to make. The plan worked, and he said he hopes the Air Force will continue the tradition.
We've saved the best for last. Up next, how things at Misawa improved or even sparkled, as well as what exciting events happened on and off base throughout the year. We'll even give you some insight into something you might be interested in seeing when it happens again this coming February. A world-class festival comes your way after the break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. A big part of 1996 included lots of improvements for the Misawa community. In fact, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers supervised more than $110 million of construction projects. Everything from new towers, theater renovations, to improvements in quality at FEN.
Within a few days of arriving, most families find it'll take a while to move on base. Well, things are about to change for the better. At least for 68 families waiting on the 2-bedroom housing list. The new main base tower that's been under construction for the past 21 months is finally nearing completion. The only holdup now is a few minor details, but overall the project is moving right along.
Well, the building itself is basically complete. Right now they're going through final inspection and punch list, cleanup, that sort of thing. The parking lot is about 35 to 40% complete and is on schedule and should be completed around the end of May. At that time, there's an inspection and turnover process. It usually runs about 10 days. So we're guessing at around mid-June for occupancy of the building.
The tower has a total of 68 2-bedroom units with nearly 1,200 feet of living space. All are identical, with laundry room, kitchen, living room and balcony, a single bath, and a small balcony on the master bedroom. So who made all of this project possible?
The government of Japan is funding the entire cost of this project, with the exception of a few government furnished items in the building. Dishwashers are furnished by the U.S. government, and washers and dryers will be furnished by the U.S. government.
What's the estimate cost again?
In excess of $30 million.
GOJ contractors have broken ground on 2 more towers and 16 more townhouse units for future upgrades, all of which are scheduled for occupants in June of 97 and 98. Proof that improvements are in the works to raise Misawa's overall quality of life.
The construction began 2 months ago on a seriously deteriorated theater. We tried to obtain some old photographs from when it was first built in the late 40s, but the pictures along with original paperwork were destroyed in a 1966 fire at the real property section of CE. The workmen had 2 months to finish, and they met their deadline. The ribbon-cutting ceremony was held Friday afternoon to show off the modern theater to the public. Instead of the traditional cake cutting, patrons were treated to popcorn and soda. There was even a movie playing at the time of the opening. The $300,000 price tag is evident by just looking around the building. Customers will see a big change as soon as they walk in the door.
The lobby itself is all new, painted from the ceiling down to the rugs on the floor are all new. You'll see the Real-Time Express, which is our new concept for the theater operations, similar to what we would call our Anthony's food concepts. It's just a theater concept. That will be replacing the old snack bar that was just sort of pieced together. This is all built purposely for the theater.
I'm home! I'm back! Are you my little sister?
There's 447 new seats in the theater, complete with beverage holders. There's even accommodations for the handicapped. 16 speakers that bring you Dolby surround sound have all been rebalanced, and a new silver screen will help project colors and give you an overall better picture. AFS paid for almost a third of the total bill, and they're very pleased at the outcome of the project.
AM 1575 has operated out of the same studio for quite a long time. Yesterday, that era ended as the Muscle Radio studio was moved across the hallway, and the long process of upgrading equipment began. The Far East Network Misawa's Chief of Maintenance explains the process.
The first thing we did is we had to strip the on-air studio of all equipment, wires, and infrastructure. This took us about a half a day. Then we had to put in the new furniture and equipment racks, along with, we started putting in the equipment pieces themselves, and we running wires and things of this nature and making all the connections. After all that is done, then we do what's called the shakedown. The entire process probably, I would estimate, if everything goes according to plan, approximately 3 weeks.
Since the equipment they pulled out was 1950s technology, a lot of rewiring and reworking has to be done to support the new equipment. Although things have gone quite smoothly so far, be prepared. That might not always be the case.
We will lose radio intermittently at some point to get it back on the air. We're going to try to give the audience as much as we can without going down for long periods of time. There's going to be some bumps, but overall we should maintain service.
When the work is finished and muscle radio moves into the digital age, the quality of what you hear should be markedly different. But until then, FEN's maintenance folks are working hard to get the audience the best product possible.